What can you tease is new this season on The Witcher, and where is Francesca fitting on?
This season is definitely a lot different to season one, just because I guess season one was all about, the three main characters. So we have Ciri, Yennefer, and Geralt. And obviously they were on different timelines, just, telling their story in the lead up to when they're going to meet. So season two is different just because the characters are all on the same timeline, which is great. So we're going to see them meeting as a family. And then also we've got loads of witches this season, which is great. And so you get to see where I say Henry Cavill. I get their names confused. I either call them by their character name or by their actual name. So so in season two we get to see where Geralt came from, Kaer Morhen, and you get to see meet his brothers and his father, which is great. And then of course we've got the elves, so that's where Francesca fits in. And I know in season one we did touch upon the elves slightly, because we had Filavandrel, so we do kind of know a little bit about their story and their struggle. So now, that's where Francesca fits in, and we get to see some more of that story and what's happening with that and where they're going to next.
I'm super excited. What made you want to be a part of the series?
Well, I mean, it's such a great series. And I absolutely adore fantasy genre. I love that kind of stuff. Anything that kind of takes you away from, real life. I love magic. I've always kind of believed in magic myself in a way. And it's my first big job, like proper job, since graduating from drama school. So when I got the audition, I had no idea what it was. I didn't know it was The Witcher. I had two auditions. I got the call back, still didn't know what I was going up for. And I was Googling everything. I was like trying to Google the character name, Googling like some of the story, and like nothing came up. At one point I thought it was Lord of the Rings. I knew it was a fantasy of some sort. And then it wasn't until I got to my chemistry read, my third audition, that I found out what it was. And honestly, I'd never heard of The Witcher before then. So, I did my research, and, I read all the books, especially once I got the role as well. I read all the books, and I just knew that was what I wanted to do. I just thought it was such an amazing story. And I really got lost in those books. So that's what made me want to do it. And the fact that I'm playing a character that has magical powers, I mean, that's just insane for me. That sold it for me.
It's kind of like an actor's dream, right?
Oh my God, yeah, definitely. For me, honestly, it's a dream job for me.
Were you familiar with any of your co-stars then before getting to work with them here on The Witcher?
Obviously, when I found out that I got the role, it was just before season one was about to air. So I spent that day watching the show. I literally stayed in bed all day and watched all 8 episodes. So I already knew who I was going to be working with, and I got familiar with the characters. And then so I knew Royce from, not personally, but I'd seen him in a show called Murdered by My Boyfriend, I think it was called, and he was amazing in that. And I saw him a couple of years before in that show, and I just thought, he's such a good actor. It's a privilege to be able to work alongside these actors. And again, Henry Cavill, I know, he's Superman, so I knew of him before, so I knew what I was getting myself into.
It's such an intense series, though. What did you find the most challenging aspect of portraying Francesca?
Gosh, if I tell you what was the most challenging thing of portraying Francesca, I'm going to give away spoilers. But there are definitely some scenes there that I was nervous about, and I really wanted to get it right and portray the right thing. And I worked so hard on it, and I just, yeah, like I feel like I learned a lot from doing these scenes. I did things that I've never experienced before in life. So I had to really dig deep with those scenes, and just get as much, info as I could to actually do those scenes. But then overall, I would say all of it, because I was new, I've never been on a set like that before. All of it, I would say, was challenging in a good way. I didn't know, things like there'd be like certain language, like a language that the directors would use that I would have to ask what that meant. It was like my first day at school. So I had to learn everything, even, standing in the right spot.
Oh,
Yeah, even like standing, like, looking left instead of right because the camera's there. Loads of different things that I had to learn and pick up on the way. So yeah, it's all been a big challenge, and but a great challenge, and I'm so grateful for it.
well, first one's down. That's the hard part. And
Yes, yeah, exactly. That is the hard part. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had an idea slightly, but I didn't know how big it was. And wow, that's all I can say.
the costumes on the show are just incredible. Can you talk about what you loved or maybe didn't love about putting it all on?
Yeah, well, the costumes are amazing, and honestly, I haven't got a bad word to say about any of the costumes. I had so many different outfits for Francesca, so I loved it. I felt like I was playing dress ups all the time. The dresses are amazing. Lucinda Wright, who's the costume designer, she did an incredible job on everybody's costumes. There is one thing. I have a ring, but it's like a ring bracelet, so it kind of fits over. It's like a ring, it fits
Yeah,
here.
over your hand.
Yeah, and it goes over your hand. That thing there, when I first saw it, I was like, I love it. I have to have it. I think it's perfect for Francesca. And we put it on. It was slightly too small for me, but I was like, it'll be fine. It looks great. It'll be fine. Me thinking I'm probably going to have it for one scene again, because very new to this. I don't know how these things work. And then, a few months down the line, I'm still filming with this thing on my hand. It's literally in every single scene. And it was really tight. And because it was so cold outside as well, that made it worse. So,
Restricted.
yeah, exactly, restricted. So in between the shots, I'd have to take it off and just give my hand a break because it was just really, really tight. But I do love the bracelet, and, it was my choice. So I suffered for those choices.
You suffer for your art. You're
I
a true
suffered for
actress.
the art, exactly.
What can you tease are some of your memorable moments from filming, or maybe standout episodes for you?
For me, I mean, oh God, all of it is very memorable for me. But in particularly my first few days on set, I remember so vividly. Because again, it was first day at school for me. I was so excited, and I just couldn't believe that where I was. And I had no idea how much of the set would actually be there. And I couldn't believe it. Once I was there, we stepped into the forest and everything was all there for you. You didn't have to imagine anything. I mean, the trees, all the essays were dressed in elven wear and the elven ears, and the camp just went on for miles. Honestly, that was probably I had many best days, but that's probably one of my best days there. I just couldn't believe how big and, how big it was. It's just incredible. So definitely that one is my most memorable days on set.
How did you shake off a long day of filming?
God, well, do you know what? My my car journey back home was probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Wow.
So by the time you finish filming, especially like sometimes I'd be getting picked up at 2:30 in the morning to go to set to get my hair and makeup done. So by the time you're in the car on the way back home, you just fall asleep. So that's it. And if it was like a heavy day, a heavy scene, I'd come back home. At least I had home. I wasn't hooked up in a hotel, so I had my home comforts around me. I'd probably have a glass of wine, some chocolate, and a bath.
All good comforts.
Yeah, all the good comforts. Yeah.
You're a part of social media. Are you looking forward to the instant fan feedback you're going to be receiving to the new Witcher episodes once they release?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we do this for the fans. So the main thing is like I hope that the fans enjoy it. So it would be nice to hear, their opinions and their thoughts, and hopefully it's all good things. So that is a good thing with social media. You do have it at your hands, at your fingertips. And I know a lot of the team, Lauren and the writers, they do kind of read all the fan comments just to see, what works and what doesn't work, and they like to try and accommodate that. So again, for me, it would be nice to see that, and you can see, what, if the fans like certain things that I did, what they weren't sure on, because we can all grow with it, and we just want to do bigger and better things. You just want to keep, outdoing ourselves and just making it an enjoyable experience for the fans.
What do you think it is about The Witcher that has made it such a fast fan favorite series?
So I think obviously because it's obviously like it had a big fan base anyway because of the books and then the games. So I think already The Witcher had that there. And another thing that I would say is that it's even though it's very big and magical, there's magic everywhere, and it's fantasy. Fantasy genre is not real. Underneath all of that, all of the characters are going through real human experiences. So I think people really connect with that. I guess for me as well, again, playing Francesca, that's what helped me connect to her, even though she's this, magical elf. The things that she was going through are things that, I could put myself in her shoes and really imagine that. And they're not quite far off, things that people do go through in life. So I think that's probably why it's got such a big fan base. And the fact that it is escapism as well. It does, even though, it's like, it does touch upon subjects that are relatable. It does take you away from, the world in a way.
What are the other projects then that you've been working on recently?
So before I did The Witcher, I had like a small part in a show called Brave New World. I was playing an alpha, and that was it's like a sci-fi. So that's what I did before The Witcher. Then obviously The Witcher, and I've just been auditioning, so I'm just waiting to hear back on projects, and yeah, so we'll see what the future holds for me.
Fingers crossed. I mean, once they see you in this, you're going to become a sci-fi specialist at this point.
Yeah, I know. I will be, won't I?
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the wonderful work that you do?
Well, I would love to say thank you to all of the fans that support. I've had so many lovely messages from the fans on Instagram and social media, and yeah, like I just hope that they enjoy the show. I hope they enjoy Francesca, and yeah, just thank you for all the support. It's been really lovely.